Okay, let's get started. So we talked about instant gratification versus delayed gratification. So I just want to reflect how we, fall into trap of this instant gratification and delayed gratification. So for example, I gave some examples, and you could also reflect how you fall into this instant gratification. For example, eating sugar, I know it's not for everybody. For many of us, we want to consume more sugar. That's part of instant gratification versus delayed. We know sugar is bad. It would damage our health, but we can't control. So that's one example. The second example is we know if we build some new skill, it's good for us in the future, but we want to have more screen time because we want to watch this show, or we want to play that game, or we want to watch that endless YouTube recommendation that shows up in our YouTube profile. So that's instant gratification. We would watch endlessly whatever we want to watch, rather working hard for the future, you know, growth and etc. So that's also one example. We all fall trap of this one. Um, we need to have some tools mechanism built around it to see how we can overcome this um, um, uh, instant gratification situations. Third example is we want to consume now rather than save for future. This is also something we all fall into. So if we have some money that we have earned, we want to consume it now. We want to buy that toy, or we want to buy that clothes, or we want to buy that whatever we want to buy. Instead, let's save and you know mm, invest and then grow, and then we will buy once the money has grown, right? So that's also uh, instant gratification. And another thing is we want to finish all the series. We start these days Netflix, all these guys, Facebook, and all these guys, Disney. Everybody knows the psychology part of human, so they're doing this series, and they design the series in a way that at the end of the episode they try to make it interesting so that you continue with the next episode, and then you would watch endlessly those episodes continuously, 8 hours, 10 hours during the night until next morning. That's a part of instant gratification. You just want to see whole series and you just end up watching it forever, right? That's instant versus delayed. You know that watching long hours, not having good sleep is not good for the body, but we still go and do that. That's part of the instant gratification. And delayed gratification examples, as you can see here, doing the daily workouts. It's hard, going out and doing exercise or whatever exercise you want to do, but it's hard. And you don't get benefits immediately. The difference between instant and delayed gratification is if you eat sugar, you get the benefit immediately. You feel something, you consumed, your brain releases dopamine, so you feel something high when you eat sugar or watch something that you are interested in, or some entertainment or something. That's the reason why many people fall into instant gratification, because they see the results immediately. Whereas delayed gratification, you don't see the results immediately. It's something you get it in the future, and very few people see the future. That's the problem with delayed gratification. Very few people sees the future. So doing workouts, if you go for a running or walking or cycling, whatever, doing gym, whatever workout you are interested in, you don't see the results immediately. Once you do 1 hour running, you don't see the result immediately. You don't see that your body or health has improved. But if you do that for a long time, you would see the benefits in the long run. That's That's the thing with delayed gratification. You don't see the results immediately. It's something you get it in the future, and many people don't see the future. That's a problem. They fall into trap of instant gratification. The second thing is preparing and building new skills for the future, whatever the skill it could be, learning programming, learning some advanced topics that can be useful in college or whatever. Those are hard. You're learning something is hard. It's not easy, but that's the delayed gratification. You get the benefits in the future. You don't get the benefit like, learning guitar or learning piano, learning anything that you don't see the benefits immediately. That's something you see it in the future. So that's example of a delayed gratification, and doing something for future where you don't see the results today now. Whereas instant gratification, you would see the results now, but that's not good for us in general. So this is part of the emotions, and it's part of our psychology, human brain. You should watch out. And now the reason why I'm explaining this is that this thing called instant gratification and delayed gratification, and you always balance your daily decisions. Whatever you are doing on the day on given time, is it something instant gratification thing or delayed gratification thing? I'm not saying you should avoid all instant gratification. What I'm saying is you should always balance it properly in the life so that you get the best out of whatever you're doing, right? Any questions or anything you want to share? Any examples you want to share? I personally fall into trap of this Netflix series, instant gratification, sometimes, and then I try to come out of it. Uh, so I don't watch the whole series in one day. I try to spread them over a couple of weeks. It's difficult emotionally because you want to see what happened in the next episode, but I'm preparing my brain that I should not be consuming it in one stretch. I would spread across multiple days. It's because I know this instant gratification and delayed gratification thing. I try to avoid these things in life. Okay, anything, any questions or anything you want to share based on your experience? How do you, um, hi to know, you want to say?
Yeah, I want to say that uh, I don't watch anything on the weekends because when I come home late and then I don't have time to do other important stuff. So I I think about it and then I only watch and do that stuff on the weekends, and then I only watch like very little when I come home on the weekend on the weekdays.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, exactly. That's a mechanism that you have to build in order to fall into the trap of such things. Exactly. You could say that, okay, anything interesting I need to watch during the weekdays, I will push that to weekend because during weekdays you have important stuff to do, right? That's a good mechanism to do.
Yeah.
Or you could also define certain time. Okay, in the weekend, I have 3, 4 hours. I would allocate it for, watching whatever I want to watch during the weekdays. So you tell your brain, it's all, see, we don't have enemies outside. It's all in our body. That's our brain is our enemy. Once you know how to control, manage your brain, then you would be better person or better investor, or financially you would be better off. So it's all in our brain. So you need to know how to control your emotions, how to you trick or tweak your brain so that it doesn't bother you during the weekdays, right? That's one of the trick you could use. Hey brain, don't worry, we will watch this series, next episode, but let's wait until Sunday afternoon. That way you are tricking your brain. That Another trick you could use is, if you want to do exercise, you tell your brain every day, between 5 to 6, I would go ahead and do the exercise. You prepare your clothes, fitness clothes ready, available. So that way you are tricking your brain that you would go ahead and do the workout. Uh, so these are all, once you know about your emotions, this is how, these are the tools you can build to control them, right? Okay, that's instant versus delayed gratification. And then this week I want to talk about again our brain. This is called system one and system two thinking. So basically, there is been research done on this area, and people got Nobel Prize for this research. It's it's emotions and behavior of the human and how our brain behaves. And um, we have two sets of brain. One is called as system one or working memory, and then second is called logical memory or logical brain. Okay. Working brain is basically, if you see here in the next slide, yes. So system one brain is basically, it's fast and it want to take the quick decisions. For example, when you are riding bike, you are basically using your system one brain, because when you are riding bike, you don't want to take a logical decision. Hey, how much mechanical energy I'm applying, how fast I'm going. You don't do all that thinking. You just bike. If somebody comes across the street, you apply the brake without even thinking that you have applied the brake, right? So that's your system one brain that is inactive. Um, and this is what we use on daily life. Our most of our brain is doing system one activities, eating food, sleeping, doing bath, doing our daily routines, taking bus or train to your school or office or work. This is all system one. It does automatically. It does not do a lot of thinking, because this is and then we have system 2. uh, uh, this system 2 brain you use when you're learning new skill, right? When you want to learn about advanced topics in maths or science, or you're learning any new music instrument, painting. All this goes through system 2 brain, system 2 thinking. And system 2 thinking takes effort, whereas system 1 is effortless. You do it instantly. uh, Whereas system 2, it takes effort. It's slow, and it's logical. It asks a lot of questions, and it's lazy. So that's the system 2 of our brain. And when do you use system 2? When you are learning new skills, or when you are doing any logical. For example, if I ask you what is 5 times 2, then your system 1 brain reacts immediately, because you know 5 times 2 is 10. It's easy. But if I ask what is 132 times 52, then your brain can't answer it quickly. Then you are using your system 2 um, thinking to do the apply the logic, and do the math, and to give an answer. So this is something you need to be aware. Our brain has this two ways of thinking. System one is this is system one is where you have emotions. You respond very quickly. Something, it could be happiness, or it could be angry, it could be sadness, it could be something you're frustrated of. It happens very spontaneously. That's it's And there is a reason for this. So we, as a humans, when we were evolving from apes to the humans over millions of years, our brain was optimizing the energy that is being consumed by the body, because brain is always doing the optimization work. I guess you understand when I say optimization, right? It wants to use the resources it is been allocated in a shortest way and the best way. That's the job of the brain. So brain does not want to spend a lot of energy for the system to thinking, because then it consumes a lot of energy, right? And brain does not want to do consume such energy. Hence, it try to answer or give you the results from system one. So, as part of human evolution, what happened is our brain become optimized engine, optimize the resources available for the brain. And maybe I should ask this question: do you know what is the highest consumed organ in our body in terms of energy? Is it heart or lungs or kidneys, or what is the organ in our body which consumes a lot of our energy? Does anyone know?
Your brain?
Yeah, it's our brain. So whatever food you are consuming on daily basis, almost 30 to 40% goes for your brain. So your brain is consuming lot of energies, calories that you are consuming as a food. Um, so what does brain do with that energy? Try to optimize your, mechanical, walking, running, riding bike, driving car. All this activities happens with the coordination of brain, where brain is spending a lot of energy. So when we were hunter gatherers, when we had scarcity of food, when imagine you are a ape or a human, some 5,000 years ago, you would be in the dark forest somewhere in jungle, or maybe in some icy land where you can't get the food. um, and you have to hunt, and sometimes you may find food, or sometimes you don't find the food. So what does brain was doing that time? It was optimizing the resources which are available. So it was creating, it was the best using of the energy that is available for processing spontaneous things, running, jumping. And when you see tiger or any predator, you want to take the decisions quickly. You don't want to do logical thinking. Oh, do you think it's a tiger or fox or buffalo? You don't have such time, then you would be dead in next second, right? So that's the reason uh, our brain evolved over millions of years, that it is optimized for making quick decisions. And it does not want to spend lot of energy resources for system two thinking, logical thinking, or rational thinking, because when it's spending a lot of time, then it's consuming a lot of energy. Did you felt anything like this when you are studying something hard, or you are learning new skill? After you doing that for a couple of hours, you feel really hungry, you want to eat food. I don't know if you felt this. It's because you are using your rational thinking system to brain, and then brain consumes a lot of energy when you are using system to thinking, and then you feel hungry. So but that age has been gone, right? We are not anymore into the situation of scarcity of food. If you open your fridge or open your cupboards, there is ample food everywhere. You have sweets everywhere at home, and you have food that you can consume. So but our brain still have this system one thinking. It wants to do lot of decisions spontaneously. uh, but our world has evolved, but our brain is still backward, or it still has this evoluted brain that it still wants to do spontaneous things. That puts us in trouble, right? In this new world, you don't need to take spontaneous decisions. You have ample food, so you should use your system two thinking more than system one thinking. Any questions so far? Anything you are not clear or anything? Should I explain it again? Yeah, so no.
For the system 1 and system 2, on the side of system 2 for 5%, it says takes effort, slow, logical, indecisive. But
Yes.
what is lazy? I don't understand.
Yeah, laziness is, if you have to come up with some innovative idea or some design or whatever, something you have to do, your brain always says, okay, let's do this later. This is a hard work. Why do you want to do it now? Let's watch that Netflix series or watch that, game or go and play with friends. So system two is not active. It's always, you heard this procrastination. Procrastination is something you want to delay something hard
Yeah.
to next day. So that's the same. System two is also procrastinating, saying, hey, it's a
Oh,
hard.
so you're being lazy.
Yeah, exactly. So in
But
order,
lazy can also be on the system 1 because you do more stuff that are lazy, like stuff that are quick because yeah, lazy stuff.
yes, that's correct. But in general, here, what it's saying is system two is generally lazy. System one is quick because you take decisions very
Yeah.
fast. But the system two, and it's really hard. I mean, we all go through this emotion. Procrastination is one of the most most affected thing in our brain. We always want to procrastinate, right? I don't want to learn Danish because it's difficult to learn, right? I don't want to learn piano because I have to do a lot of practice. I don't want to learn new skills because it's hard work, right? So, but there is a tools.
People want change fast.
Exactly, precisely. They don't want to change fast, or they don't want to learn new things, or they don't want to try out new things. They want to sit in their comfort zone and live whatever things that they know, right? So, and once you know that this thing in your brain, then you can build the tools. We will talk about the tools later, but first understanding how our brain works is most important emotionally. So that's the reason, first understanding the things and then try to build tools to not fall trap of such things. Okay, let me. So yeah, so let's we talked about this, and especially in financial world, many people, when it comes to money, many people take a decision with decisions with system one thinking because it's easy. Somebody coming up in TV or somewhere who is recommending to buy something, he is nicely dressed, and you don't want to put a lot of effort, then you just go and buy the stuff, right? If you go to the car dealer, the guy who wants to sell the car, he's well dressed and he wants to, try to pursue that this is the best car, and he wants to buy that he wants you to buy the car. So he's playing with your system one brain, because your system, all marketing, sales, advertisements you see around you in YouTube or in boards, billboards, when you look at your when you go to your local bus stop, when you take the bus, there are billboards which are giving lots of advertisements, right? They are trying to tweak or play with your system one brain, remember that. And then how do you avoid this? Then you always delay the big decisions, and you give your brain couple of days time. You would tell, if you go to car dealer and if he wants you to buy a car, you will say, I'll think about it, I'll come after 2 days, right? Then you are basically saying, hey brain, let's not take a decision, let's give this task to system 2 of the brain. Let's think about this new car. Does it make sense me to buy this new car? And then your system 2 brain thinks logically, and it puts effort. Okay, how much you are earning? How much you are going to use this car? Do you really need this car at this point of time? How much loan you are going to take? All this thinking would not be done by system 1 of your brain. It done by system 2. Basically, by delaying the decision, you are giving time to your system 2 brain to think through the things. So that's one important thing you need to learn. Any big decisions in your life, best way to take those decisions is delay them. Don't try to take decisions when you are emotionally in a situation, some influences. Uh, don't try to take those decisions when there are a lot of emotion involved and lot of pressure or like lot of things. You just tell yourself, okay, let me think over it. The usual expression you should use is, let me sleep over this idea and I'll think about it. Or let me think about it. Give me 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 1 month, whatever. So that way you are basically avoiding the traps to take quick decision. Then your brain system 1 does the decision, and system 1 is generally not meant for taking logical decisions because it does not think through the things thoroughly. Okay. Same with investing, right? Somebody persuading to buy something. Hey, buy this company. It's a great company. You would, make a lot of money. Then you would say, okay, let me think over it. Let me think through the things to see whether this company is really good. It could be business decision. Somebody comes and says, hey, this is a great business idea. Let's get into this. And is your friend, you are been with him for many years. Emotionally your system 1 says, hey, he's my close friend, he must know what he's doing, so let's jump into the business idea. Instead you would say, okay, it's a good idea, let me think through the things and come back to you whether I want to be part of this idea, right? Then your logical brain start thinking, and then that's when you are basically giving task to your system 2, which think through the things. Then you take the conscious decision. Does this make sense, or is it
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah?
it makes sense.
When you are emotional with anybody in any argument, anything you are saying, you simply try to avoid those situations, simply saying, okay, let me think over this, okay, give me some time, because it's our brain which is acting at that time. Basically, when you are in this emotional or any difficult situations, your brain system 1 acts on it, and then it always makes wrong decision, or it's not a it's not a it does not think logically. And many of the mistakes happens during system 1 thinking. People doing system 1 thinking, and then many traps, many mistakes happen. So knowing that you have these two kinds of brains, logical and instantaneous brains, nothing wrong with any of these brains. Both brains are built for different purposes, but you should not use your system 1 more often for all the situations. There is a reason why you have system 2, so you should push some things to system 2, so system 2 think through it before you take a decision or any. So, and okay, let's look at some videos that explains this bit more.
Professor Daniel Kahneman, who is best known.
Can you hear the audio?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Dan Kahneman is the guy who came up with this idea. He wrote a great book, Think Fast and Slow. I'll give the references. And he also got a Nobel Prize for this work in 2003, if I remember it right. But he did this work during late in 1980s and beginning of 1990s. And he's from Israel. So he did this research on the soldiers because Israel goes through, lot of lot
War.
war, yeah, with the Palestinian surrounding countries, right? So they go through this emotional decisions, and then he has done the research with the soldiers and other, and he's a psychologist by profession, and he came up with this idea. Hey, our brain has this two ways of thinking. You should not you always use system one. You should always try to avoid traps and give time to your system to brain to do more work. So based on this research, he got a Nobel Prize, and it changed many things in many fields, especially how do you learn stuff. It also helped now that it's our system two brain who is not putting efforts to learn new stuff because it's lazy, it's required a lot of effort. So now we can build some tools how to come out of the such traps or such difficulties. And same in the finance world, the whole new domain of research started based on this fundamental research. It's called behavioral economics. Until Daniel Kahneman came up with this idea, everybody thought humans are rational humans. I mean, everybody think through logically. When you see the smoking ad, everybody thought people know that smoking is harmless and they don't smoke. But what happened in 1960? Because there were many smoking ads, many people fall into the trap of habit of smoking more cigarettes. Then we found out that it's our system one brain which is doing acting rather than system two spontaneously. So this is one name you should hear in your career many times, because he's this research touching many different fields. And I would also recommend reading this book which he has written about this topic. Okay.
As the only psychologist to win a Nobel Prize, in economics actually, he has spent decades investigating people's thought processes. His insights into the way our minds work spring from the mistakes that we make. Those mistakes, he argues, are not random. They are systematic errors that we all make all the time without realizing it. Professor Kahneman realized that we actually have two systems of thinking, one automatic, called System 1, and one effortful, System 2. In his book, Thinking Fast and Slow, Professor Kahneman invites the reader to think of the two systems as agents within the mind, with their individual personalities, abilities, and limitations. And because the use of such language is considered a sin in the academic circles, Kahneman makes the important note that System 1 and System 2 are fictional characters. They are more like nicknames of the complex processes within our brains. Why call them System 1 and System 2 rather than the more descriptive automatic system and effortful system? The reason, Kahneman argues, is simple. Automatic system takes longer to say than System 1, and therefore takes more space in your working memory, thus reducing your ability to think. We decided to take this idea one step further, depicting the two systems with two well-known characters from TV, Hal from Malcolm in the Middle, starring as System 1, and Dr. House, starring as System 2. Keep in mind that those TV characters are definitely not a perfect representation of System 1 and System 2 thinking, but they might help you understand the abstract nature of the concept. With that out of the way, let's take a closer look at the two characters inside the brain. System 1 is intuitive, fast and automatic. It relies on mental shortcuts and quickly proposes intuitive answers to problems as they arise. This fast way of thinking is actually responsible for most of the things that you say, do, think and believe. And yet you have no idea that this is happening. This system is your autopilot and it has a mind of its own. That's why most people identify it as the stranger within. At its core, System 1 works through the process of associative memory. It continuously finds connections between words, images, feelings, actions, ideas, and memories in order to build a coherent interpretation of life as we experience it. Professor Kahneman defines it as the storyteller. It tells the best stories it can from the available pieces of information, even when the information is sparse or unreliable. When we measure how good a story is or how confident we are in its accuracy, We actually do not evaluate the reliability of the evidence and its quality, but the coherence of the story. One of the defining characteristics of System 1 thinking is the phenomenon that Kahneman describes as what you see is all there is, or in other words, System 1 pays no attention to what it does not know. It only works with ideas that have been primed and activated in the system. As Kahneman
So system one basically looks at the appearance and it doesn't go behind the what it sees. It does not. It try to take a decision based on whatever it sees. There are many things we don't see, and we can't take a decisions based on the things we don't see. I'll give some examples later on this topic. Uh, you know, things what we see and we take a decisions, but there are additional information you required before you can take a decision. And many times in our life, we don't ask for that additional information. We always use our system one thinking to take such decisions, which is harmful. So I'll take some concrete examples on this, but let's just continue.
points out, System 1 is our mental system for jumping to conclusions. So, that's System 1 in a nutshell. As we have mentioned, there is another way thoughts come to mind, and this is definitely not the intuitive way. System 2 is the deliberate, logical part of your mind. It is an expert at solving problems, but it is slow, requires a lot of energy, and is extremely lazy. A very important aspect of System 2 thinking is that it is effortful, and what psychologists mean by effortful? Well, basically it's something you cannot do while making a left turn into traffic. You cannot do it, and you shouldn't try it. And the reason is, there is limited capacity to exert effort. The more tasks System 2 takes on, the more energy it requires. As a result, System 2 attempts to preserve its energy by doing as little work as possible, and when feeling cognitive pressure, it assigns the work to System 1. In short, System 2 is powerful, but lazy. Kahneman's fundamental proposition is that we identify with System 2. We believe that we are the conscious, reasoning self that has beliefs, makes choices, and decides what to think about and what to do. But actually, most of the time, the one that is really in charge is System 1. Usually System 1 runs automatically and System 2 is in a comfortable, low effort mode in the background. The problem comes when we allow our fast, intuitive system to make decisions that we really should pass over to our slow, logical one. This is where all the mistakes in our thinking emerge.
So as you understand, the in charge of our brain is system one, because without system one being an in charge, we can't do our daily life, walking, riding bike. That's part of our brain. System one is in charge, but it doesn't mean that you have to rely on system one for all the decisions, especially big decisions, you know buying big ticket items, house, car, whatever, big decision in your life. When you are a kid, you may have some big decisions, which skills I should spend more time, chess versus guitar versus learning math or whatever, the decisions. You should not give that to your system one brain. Think through the facts, try to get more data and understand, and think through the logic, and then take a decision. So system 2 is there in our brain, but it's always sleeping in the background. Until you ask for it, it won't be active, and system 1 is in charge. And you should always be aware of these two systems, and then don't give your system 1 brain to take all the decisions. Then that's where we do a lot of our mistakes. Okay, so let's see.
Thinking fast and slow. Here we will be talking about two systems, System 1 and System 2. Our behavior is determined by these two different systems. System 1 is fast thinking, and System 2 is slow thinking. Let's take a look at System 1. System 1 is impulsive, automatic, and intuitive. System 2, however, is thoughtful, deliberate, and calculating.
Remember, all the marketing sales guys, they try to use our system one to, try to push the products. Just remember next time when you see the ads, how they are playing with our system one brain. And then our system one is impulsive, right? So it takes decisions. Oh, I need that perfume, that looks so great, right? Oh, I need the dress, it looks so cool, right? So they're playing with our system one brain, and they never give a chance to system two. So all the sales marketing guys, they always use our system one. The colors they are choosing for the advertisement campaign, the characters they choose and the actors they choose, it's all part of the system one brains. Basically, you should imagine the marketing sales guys trying to get hold of your system one brain and push the product. That's how they play.
There is always a fight going on in our brain between System 1 and System 2. As they play off against each other, their interactions determine how we think, make judgments and decisions, and act. Let's take a look at System 1. System 1 is fast thinking. It's automatic and instant. For example, if I ask you, what is 2 plus 2? Your answer will be almost instantaneous. Let's take a look at System 2. System 2 is effortful and slow thinking. It's conscious and takes time. For example, if I ask you what is 12 times 23, your System 2, slow thinking will kick in and you will think about the answer before you present an answer. System 1 calling System 2. When System 1 runs into difficulty, it calls on System 2 to support more detailed and specific processing that may solve the problem of the moment. System 2 is mobilized when a question arises for which System 1 does not offer an answer, as probably happened to you when you encountered the multiplication problem. These systems help our brain to operate efficiently. However, our mind is lazy and often lead to cause a human error. Let's take a quick test as an example. A bat and a ball together cost $1.10.
But that's just an example. So is it clear, or maybe I can give you some examples that I've faced in my life. So I went to this shop to buy some things, and this shopkeeper, when you go to a shop, this happened in India, and I faced this on other situations also. In India, when I went for buying something for my son, I faced this salesman is trying to pursue that this is the best whatever dress he wants to sell me, and he was trying to quote a lot of price. I realized that he is trying to influence my system one brain, and he was trying to showcase that this is the best dress in the market or whatever, right? That's the job of the sales guys. And then, because I am aware of this, I told him, okay, it sounds great and it's good. Let me go to other four shops, or let me think about this in 1 or 2 days, and I'll come back. Okay, so after I did that, I went and started using my system too, and then gone through other options available in the market. Then what I found was, I found another dress which is 30% of the cost of the one which I thought of buying, or which this salesman was pushing. And it was difficult to say no as a human when sales guy put some effort explaining certain things. He also brought in the tailor who could, stitch the dress for my son. It's difficult as a human for us to say no to certain things, right? Because he's showing that he has really put effort on this thing, and he expect you to buy dress because he put an effort. We as a humans does not want to say no. We end up buying expensive things. Instead, you would say, okay, let me think over it. Thanks that you put effort on this, but let me think over and come back in 2 days. Then after 2 days, I realized then my system two brain started thinking about it. Then I realized this guy was trying to sell me the expensive stuff, and on top of it, it's not the best price in the market. So then I was thinking, okay, if I would have bought that dress, how stupid I was. So he was playing with my system one brain, right? So this is this real life situation that I faced, and I also faced this in daily life. When I want to buy something in share market or any investments I want to do, I see sometimes somebody trying to manipulate my system one brain, pursuing, hey, this is a great company, this is a great investment, you should buy it. I am buying it now. Then I would say, okay, it may be great for you. Let me think over it, and then I would do some more investigation. I'll tell myself I have a rule in general. I don't buy anything immediately if somebody suggested me to buy something. I would always say I need to give at least 1 week time. That's a condition, mental condition I have built in my brain. I would not buy anything if somebody says it's a great product. It could be anything. I would always tell, okay, I will note it down and I'll think over. I'll give 1 week time and then I'll think over it. So that's how you could avoid wrong decisions when you give time for your system to brain. Okay, that's regarding buying and stuff. But I also faced situations where I want to build new skills or I want to learn new stuff, and my system one brain says, hey, why do you want to learn new stuff? Let's watch that Netflix series or whatever. Let's just watch endless this YouTube where you could watch anything and everything, right? Then I know, okay, my system one brain, emotional brain, is acting against me. So I build a tool wherein I say that every day, half an hour or 40 minutes, I will spend, after dinner, 8 to 9, or before dinner, I would say I would learn this new skill. That way I'm telling my brain, I don't care what my system one brain is saying. Hey, go watch that new series that available in Netflix or Disney, whatever. Then I'm saying to my brain, I don't care. I just want to learn this new skill for 1 hour every day. That way my brain does not come and play with my logical brain. Does this make sense? It's me explaining my own experiences of system one and system two, how I use this on daily basis to overcome the situations. These are the situations you would face on daily basis in finance as well as in real life regarding many things. Any questions? Anything you want to ask? So these are all part of our emotions and our psychology and our brain, and understanding them and building tools around them is most important. Um, okay. Any questions? Anything? Anybody wants to share their examples? Maybe from now onwards, just to try out how you are doing stuff with your system 1 and system 2, and especially financial world, when you are dealing with money, you should always, my suggestion is always use your system 2. Never ever entertain your system 1. Then you will make a lot of mistakes. Trust me, you will make a lot of mistakes when it comes to money. If you're using your system 1 instead of system 2, then we are all you will fall into the trouble. Always use system 2 for any money related decisions. Okay. And I would also suggest you, any big decisions in your life, what you want to study, what you want, whom do you want to marry, or what kind of, whatever, big decisions in your life, buying a house or buying a car, any big decisions in life, always use system 2 brain. Don't rely on system 1. Give a time to your brain to think through the things and try to get the data and the logic behind it before you make a decision. Okay.
No, it's fine. No. After the class is done, I just. Poonam, you're not muted.
Okay.
No, just because I have a corona test at 11 o'clock, so my dad was telling me to put my clothes on, and I told him that I can't.
Okay. Okay, good. Any questions before we close?
This is not a question, but this is an experience I've been thinking. For example, if you're doing like just math practice itself and you know everything, then you basically just use system 1. But then the same thing is asked in a test, you do it, and then you rethink it like 10,000 times before you submit it or something.
That's correct. What happens is when you're learning let's say new maths, if you're learning trigonometry, for example, only algebra, basic arithmetic. Trigonometry is something new to you, then your system 2 brain comes into play and try to teach you or learn the concepts. Once you thoroughly practiced, then it pushes to system 1. So when any trigonometry problems comes in the future, your system 1 is prepared and ready for usage. Same with any new language. Let's say you are learning German, then your system 2 brain need to put a lot of effort to learn vocabulary, sentence forming, how to pronounce. Once it did enough practice, then it give it to system 1, then it becomes automatic. So
yeah,
you are right, exactly. If you practice thoroughly some concepts, then your system 1 is acting fast. That's the reason some people do quite well in exams, because they answer spontaneously because they practice a lot. You would experience the same when you are doing chess moves. Let's imagine you are playing a chess with a guy who just started learning versus you already learned or trained in chess for 3-4 years. You are doing spontaneous moves because your system 1, system 2 already trained and gave the logic and spontaneous moves to system 1, so you are doing it very fast. Whereas the guy who just started learning chess is using his system 2 brain, right? So it takes a lot of time and he can't think through the things, and then he will lose the game. That's precisely, yeah, that's a good one. Loket, you want to?
Yeah, so let's say there's a badminton racket on the market, or like at shops, and I like it because it looks cool. Would that be my system 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you compare with you basically don't go and buy it immediately. You would say, okay, it looks cool, does it make sense to buy it logically? What real advantages of buying? Would I get a better player by buying this rocket, or is it just a look and feel that I'm falling into the trap? Then that's your system 2 thinking through the things.
Okay. Thanks.
And it's also this badminton moves that you have learned over the time, right? If you look at good players, they move very fast because they learn this over the time. Their system one predicts where the mm, cock going to fall, and then they move the body very fast. It's because they practiced so long time. So system one now does the things spontaneously, whereas the new player who just started learning badminton, he probably does not have that spontaneous, because he still need to train system 2, and then once he trained the system 2, then it becomes available in system 1. So all the new skills you are learning in the life, it comes through the system 2, then it becomes available in system 1. If you don't learn, then if you if you are giving system 1 to take a decision, then system 1 fails, right? Losing in chess game or falling off the bike, because you don't know how to react spontaneously when somebody comes without. So all those things are because system 1 is not trained enough through system to do the spontaneous acts. Okay, just remember this and try to observe the things in daily life with this tool you learned, system 1, system 2 thinking, and I will try to bring more examples, then you feel and understand this. But the best way to experience this is observing the things around you. Okay. With that, thanks for this week, and we will talk again next week.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.